Hey everybody, Mike with Games Play Badly, and today on Session 0, I have Matt and Lex, who are part of a new D&D 5e actual play podcast called Aetherlogue. Now, they have 3 or 4 episodes out now, and I've actually listened to them. I think they're really good. And we talk about the podcast process, what it takes to produce it and market it, and also the character creation process, what some of those characters look like, what their motivations are. And unfortunately, we didn't have the entire cast on board because we just couldn't get everybody scheduled. But Matt and Lex were fantastic, and I can't wait for you to meet them. As usual, I have my Dungeon Glitch Gem Firefly t-shirt. And I'm not just wearing this because Matt's actually in this interview. I wear them for every interview that I do. So Matt does a fantastic job. If you would like a shirt or a flag or a mug or whatever else you're looking for, go to gemfirefly.com and search around. And when you get done, make sure to use our code BADLY15, BADLY 15 at checkout for 15% off your order. Can't wait for you to meet Matt and Lex. That interview starts now. Hey Matt, hey Lex, how are you?
Hey Mike, how's it going? I'm great.
Hi, Mike. It's so good to be here.
It's really, really nice to meet you, Lex. I've heard nothing but good things.
Yeah,
And,
I've seen you around. We've run in the same circles.
it's fantastic to have you guys on. And why don't you tell me about your project? So, Aetherlogue is an actual play podcast dealing with a homebrew world in D&D 5e.
Yeah, so this is normally where I would just point to Sam and just finally take a step back from the lead of a project because I haven't been able to do that in years. But so the way I've been describing the Etherlog is like it's just evolving. I don't want to use the word brand, but it's kind of like our project, and it actually goes beyond just this one campaign. But the campaign we're running right now, being run by Sam Comerford, it's called the Key to Vidra, and he is the GM, but the term we use is the Ethernaut. So he is the Ethernaut, and he is killing it. His story is amazing. So yeah, our team is basically our friends that are experts in their own right around the space. We have Chrissy from Chrissy and Color, and Mark Garkusha from Cast Eye Podcast, and that's the 5 of us, me and Lex. And yeah, so it's technically a 5e world, but we keep breaking the rules in ways that are just super fun.
And I design my own games, so I don't care. It's like the rules were arbitrary. Some rando made it. If you look at another indie TTRPG and you're fine with breaking the rules of that because some rando made it. Jeremy Crawford's a rando, okay? It doesn't matter. Like it doesn't like he would otherwise just be a rando, right? So, and also, when you see how the sausage is made, you can tinker with it. It's fine. I literally just write a different mechanic on the fly. It's fine. It does not matter. And I'm actually really excited for us to explore other systems as well, because we've talked about doing that for future seasons. So this first season is 5e because, even though the market's super saturated, you kind of want to open with something that everybody's familiar with for people to get familiar with you. Mm-hmm. And then you can move on to some of the other stuff. And so we haven't discussed specifically what, but I'm going to make sure we'll play indie games because, I'm sort of the, we all have played other games for sure. Everybody loves TTRPGs in general, but it feels like optically I'm the indie TTRPG one because that's all I do is make those types of games. Mm-hmm. So I'm really excited to try other systems with this group. But I got to say, the 5e stuff that we're doing is so fun. We're doing lots of our own designs. The whole world is built from the ground up by all of us together. I think there's only one person using a Wizards of the Coast published subclass. There's only one out of the 4 players. And so that it's going to get
that's me, isn't it?
A little funky. No. Oh yeah. The intelligence-based monk. That's not official.
I'm still a battle master.
Oh yeah, true. You did take the battle master fighter. I'll give you that. Okay, so it's like it's 1.5.
That's accurate.
But we worked with Mark to make a special barbarian. We haven't revealed that on the show yet, so I'm not gonna spoil anything for Drake, and then I'm using the Grief Domain cleric that I designed and have always wanted to play, and I'm finally getting the chance to do it. So
that's cool.
It's 5e, but so you'll recognize the skeleton of it, but all the meat is weird. It's like ostrich meat. It's lumber wolf meat.
Lumber wolf meat. Yeah. It's fantastic.
Well, those are great things, and I think you're exactly right. I mean, basically the reason why. So, for instance, this is kind of off topic, and I may or may not leave this in, but I like tacos, right? And so, tacos is a really good vehicle. So, imagine 5e being the taco shell, and then all the other stuff that you're doing is inside a familiar vehicle that somebody will actually put in their mouth because it's a taco, right?
Surprise! It's deep fried tripe.
Yeah, correct. Exactly. I've had
tripe tacos. I love me a tripe taco.
I dig it.
Right. I've had Indian lamb vindaloo tacos, which are excellent.
Beef tongue is really good too. Lengua.
Yeah.
You can get lengua tacos.
No. I have eel in the oven right now.
So you have 3 episodes up, and you are releasing on a weekly schedule. What day are you releasing your episodes?
Tuesdays. And I want to say it's at 10 a.m. the release. I'm not entirely sure. This is our first week that isn't the debut, so we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, last week was the launch. So I guess 10 a.m. tomorrow you'll find out.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah, we left Sam and Mark in charge of that part. Like we're just like the marketing guys. We're just
we're the hot marketing sales people that we just walk up and start talking, and then we go home. And
you need some finger guns in there. Pew.
I kid you not. I'm not on camera right now, listeners. So I literally did do finger guns, and they didn't get to see it. So it was part of the shtick, and Mike just didn't see it. And y'all wouldn't have seen it either, but for Mike saying, you got to throw some finger guns in there.
Yeah,
so.
Absolutely. Well, I'm glad you did them in solidarity. That's awesome.
Yes.
So we were kind of talking earlier about how a lot of us have been. I would imagine everybody that's part of the project all joined or the TTRPG space around the same time. Is that accurate?
I'm not sure. I'd see. I remember meeting Mark pretty early.
It's approximately around then. I can't say for sure for Chrissy.
Yeah.
Because Chrissy's been just part of actual plays for as long as I can remember.
Yeah.
Since I've met her, she's was already in a bunch of shows when we met. So, but I know Cast Eye was an early one that I interacted with a lot, and that's so like I actually have been on their show for a mini arc, and I've DM'd a few things for them in Mayday Roleplay, who is also excellent group. Almost like if we can get to like a fraction of their acting ability, I will be so happy with our show, because every single one of those people is so
good,
goddamn talented, so good.
They're up for so many awards right now.
They're
I love it.
Good. I still think everything they do is excellent.
Yeah.
But so I think we had Cast Eye early in the beginning. So I think we all started around the same time. We were all sort of at least in a similar like growth period around the same time. So we were all sort of interacting with each other and helping each other promote each other's stuff, supporting each other's things. And I think that's how you make your friends. It's like whichever cohort you start with, you're within the same like follower range. That's like, all right, people in this range, we are going to help each other. And there's some like waves of new people that come in, and I guess we all kind of started around the same time, but we didn't all meet right away. So like I hadn't played with Sam until earlier this year.
So we talked about your world being collaboratively built. Why don't you tell me a little bit about that and the characters that are in it?
Sure. So my character, I play Gale, and Gale's I know a lot of people say, oh yeah, I play mercenary. It's like my guy's actually like a professional like mercenary from an army sort of culture. He's very like Spartan like in his system. And when I was making this with Sam, he kind of encouraged me just like, okay, make whatever you want and then we'll fit it in. So I just went, okay, I'm gonna make a location, and he's from a spire. It's just this giant tower in the middle of some valley. So he's like, okay, we have a valley now, and so now Gale he's into like hang gliding and stuff like that. I don't even think we even discussed that on the show.
I didn't. I'm
yet.
learning this right now.
Yeah. So Gale has a backpack, and inside it is a glider.
A flying snake monk.
Yeah.
A gliding snake monk.
Yeah. So he's a shifter, but he's as you'll learn that this world has 3 moons. So we were kind of just like spitballing ideas, and then Mark goes, "Well, what about lycanthropes?" And I'm like, "I'm playing a shifter. What does that mean?"
Yeah, it's like, how does werewolves work? How do werewolves do, and other similar things when 3 moons?
So there's more to my odd case of being like lycanthrope descent as a shifter, because he's a snake, which is odd because like when he's not shifted mode, I made him he's mammalian, so he's warm blooded. But when he shifts, like his skin breaks like a snake sheds its skin. So if he had hair growing, it all comes off, and like his jaw just it's a thing. So
it's a running gag with Matt's character about like growing out the facial hair or growing out the hair on top too. Like has a beard in the like the very first episode.
Yep.
And when the shift happens, and you'll see when that happens, it's like, oh man, I gotta grow that out again.
Yeah.
Which I love.
In the concept art.
Matt really put a lot of thought into Gale, which I appreciate.
In the concept art, I drew him one with hair and one without. And no one's seen the one with hair yet, but it's like he's blonde.
What? Gale is blonde. I didn't know that.
So
people gonna have to listen to this. If the Gale stands, this is gonna be like a seminal text for them. This is the canon. They found this Dead Sea Scrolls.
Yeah.
And they are here. Because there's gonna be some Gale stands.
I hope so.
I was listening back through the first 3 episodes, and I was just laughing. So like Gale is so funny and also so deadly and such a cool concept. I've never seen a character like Gale before. So, and that's not even to talk about the Wyvern scribes and all this other stuff. And there's a lot of cool things going on with Gale for sure.
I'm playing him neutral because I don't know. I'm always fascinated by playing evil characters, because I think so many people are so used to the idea of, oh, evil, I got to be like a villain or something like that. It's like, no, you can just be kind of selfish and a little bit of a jerk. You're still technically evil. It just means you just kind of put yourself a little first, which doesn't mean you can't work with a group. But yeah, I think Gale borders somewhere on there. And I made him a tank, even though he has no business being a tank. And he's not strong. He's just really fast. So I'm playing a very conflicted character that I really enjoy, and I just practice his voice by singing as the voice all day.
It's very much like a villain song in a musical voice.
Yeah. If I were to describe it, it's kind of like doing the Joker mixed with like Jafar from from Aladdin.
Yeah.
Right.
So, yeah. I can see that.
And a little bit of a sing song in there. It goes up and down, but sometimes that gravel just comes out, and I don't know. I love Gale.
Matt's also learning how to be a voice actor, which is talent number 69420 on the list.
Exactly. Can you save some for the rest of us? Thank you very much.
Well, hanging out with Mark is rubbing off.
The thing where like people start something and they don't finish it. Matt gets all the leftovers, and there's a lot of leftovers because people don't finish their stuff.
Right.
They get 10% in, and then that 90% got to go somewhere. Okay.
Right.
It goes to Matt.
I didn't learn that until I was older, to like follow through on projects. It's like, oh yeah, well, if you actually finish it, you can move on to the other thing instead of just starting
having an unfinished project.
Yeah. Like, shit, all right.
So now, Lex, what are you playing?
So I'm playing Dashi Shijak, who just the name alone I came up with because I'm part Korean. My mom is Korean. And actually, both of us are mixed Asian. That was another one of the first things that we connected on, like early on, for sure. That was like a big thing too. Yeah. And so Dashi Shijak means, like, if you say that out loud, it means start again in Korean. Obviously, Korean doesn't exist in Vidra, but that was sort of where I came up with the name, because I am playing a Grief Domain cleric. The Grief Domain is one I designed, and I posted it many moons ago on Twitter, and for a long time it was one of my best posts, which I was very proud of, because normally I do like very memey subclasses, shit posty subclasses that all sort of, you know, designed to catch the eye of a passersby in the algorithm and stuff. But this one was like a like authentic, genuine attempt at like, I think we all have sort of had to reconfigure our relationships with grief during 2020 and beyond, you know, in this new era of like all the things that we lost, the types of changes we had to make, the things that we missed out on. And, you know, obviously if you had lost someone, that's like a devastating thing. And I'd just been thinking about grief a lot before I wrote that. And it just makes sense to me. Like I grew up religious and then I'm not, and all this stuff. So it took a while to find a worldview that really made things make sense, because that's sort of why I can't do what I used to, you know, believe what I used to, because it didn't make sense anymore. And I think viewing the world through a lens of grief and healing, you know, grief is not just like, you know, something bad happens, but that's sort of like the process of accepting your loss, right? That's how I kind of think about it, and that's sort of what you do, and you can't ignore it, or you can, but it'll fester and it becomes a big weight on you in your life. And so I was writing a silly little D&D 5e subclass, and I love the cleric in 5e. I think it's so good. It's absolutely my favorite of the base classes. And I was like, oh, let's play with this idea of grief and what that can do to you. If you heal it, if you accept it, that can create huge results for you in your life. And if you let it fester, then you can really be, you know, cutting yourself off at the knees, as it were. And so there's actually a moment that Sam referenced last night in our interview with Luna about one of the upcoming episodes. And it's a little farther out. It's not the next drop, but she does one of the channel divinity for the grief domain cleric. And the little Aasimar, this tiny, I like maybe 4 foot tall tops. It's like 3.5 to 4 feet tall, like lavender skin, bright turquoise hair, wears like a creepy
mask.
It's creepy mask. It's got like, you know, 3 eyes on. It's got a big wide smile. They have like gauntlets and pauldrons and like loose ninja pants, and, you know, just the wildest design I could come up with. And also they're just as very thoughtful, and they come from this order of grief domain clerics who are, and then when we were doing the world building with Sam, we were talking about the different moons, and there's also the corresponding islands. There's like 3 floating islands that all correspond to the colors of each of these moons. And so my character is on the one that represents sort of like divine magic or oath magic. And so we sort of built out what the grief domain headquarters looked like, what's that organizational structure, you know, what my character's role in it is, how did I get this magic item that is from the monastery or whatever, and then like what are sort of, I came up with a lot of these sort of more, not, I guess, radical or like sort of a little more extreme sect of the grief domain, where, you know, also, and I use the word extreme lightly, but more of like an abolitionist sect of the grief domain, where yes, you can heal people's grief, but if they're continually being taken, like people, if they keep losing stuff because people are taking stuff from them, so just powerful structures and stuff, it is your duty then to remove the sources of that grief. So, you know, dictators, anybody who's like using their power to harm people.
Right.
So there's this sort of like, and it gets to the question of like, who is the ultimate authority in the world? And, you know, there's a lot of stuff that we're starting to get into now with Dashi's story, which I really love.
Oh, so good.
I know Dashi in the beginning comes across as a very sort of comic relief type character. I guess not the first scene. The first scene, you know, that Dashi's a sad character.
Oh yeah.
But the way I play Dashi in the present tense is very sort of comic relief, but more just because I like being wild and making my own choices, and people think it's funny. So I go, all right, cool, I'm funny. But Dashi's story is really, I'm so excited to get through it, or get to some of the reveals. We're starting to like gather some intel in the story. Oh, it's gonna be real.
Don't give anything away. People will be pissed off.
Yeah, in a mechanical sense, as someone watching Lex play Dashi, there's there's such like a potent, it feels like outside of the box, but then when you hear it, it almost sounds like, well, that's the obvious amazing thing, optimal but abstractly beautiful like decisions that Lex makes when playing, and Dashi being as complicated a character with such a thoughtful domain, and it just really like a can opener on these rules. So beautiful. I love Dashi. Like I keep making the joke that Dashi's the powerhouse of the cell because they're my favorite character in the group.
Oh, thank you so much, Matt. That means a lot, because I mean, we got some good characters in the group, and Dashi is really fun to play. And when you sort of like when you write rules as part of your hobby, you get to know the rules pretty well of the games you play. And so I'm always thinking, what's my role here? What can I do that other people aren't already doing, right? We have Gale, who's tanking and being mobile around the battlefield, taking care of business. I think Gale was like the first one into the vault, right? In episode, I guess I won't say that.
No,
it's in
released.
episode 2.
That's released,
it's episode 2, I think.
Something like that.
Yeah, it's like the beginning of episode 2. It's not super spoilery. And Drake is got his strongman thing going on, and the shatter hand, and it's and y'all are always in the fray, and Octavia's always like doing this really cool spell slinging and the Eldritch blasts, all this cool stuff. I'm like, okay, everybody's doing their optimal thing. No one's taking damage yet because these players are pros. What do I do? How can I imagine the situation through this lens that this character has, right? It's like the world, I didn't intend to create sort of like what ended up becoming a very peaceful character. I thought this character is going to throw down a lot. And really what ended up happening is that if you see the world through this lens, you no longer see like violence as the only option, right? You don't see that sort of, even if it's just like a test, it's like, all right, we're going to do a fighting test to see how well you can fight. I'm like, actually, how about what if we didn't do that?
And to further credit, you're allowed to take these liberties and these risks and stuff when your GM or RE is on the same page. And Sam lets us experiment, and he's so quick to see the angles and understand our thinking into things. And yeah, there's even when like we're recording, there'll be sometimes when we'll just like take a quick break, or we just keep stunning each other, and it's like, wow, I can't believe you just did that. It's like
yeah, it'll like go back and forth. It'll be like Sam and another person in a scene, and it'll just be like one person will say someone, and the other person will be like, I need a moment to say I need a moment, and then they'll say something, and then Sam will have to be like, I need a moment. Sam is really so tremendously just like a very dedicated and talented DM. So he really meets us where like he's got the wacky ideas too. Of course, if you know role playing,
sure, of course,
he's like he's gonna love any of your wild ideas, right. And also is very good with the rules, and he'll know like really obscure stuff that are like, actually doesn't work like that, but I'm gonna allow it because I can, because I'm allowed to. So like he knows it, and then he's like, actually for the story, this would be much more fun if it worked this way,
right, right.
And we all have the understanding of like, yeah, that's like a isolated incident. It's not like a cheat code that we can go back to and like,
right.
That's not the group. That's not the kind of group we are. So that also frees the DM to be like, hey, I'll let this cool thing happen because you're not going to hold it over my head for 6 sessions,
right?
And like, all the stuff. So, everybody gives each other a lot of grace and a lot of like room to take big swings and do a lot of this stuff. It's really a great group that I enjoy playing with so much. And the characters, you just heard about Dashi and Gale, but Drake, Shatterhand is another great one. Octavia.
Oh my God.
I mean, Octavia is like the arc. We have like a little mini arc for Octavia, like episode 4 maybe, and it's excellent. That whole thing is so cool. And yeah, so we've got like, no matter what you're into, if you're into snake men, dead,
as some are,
hot dead
yes.
bards,
and Chrissy will cosplay as Octavia. Yeah. So yeah, you'll see that. You
can see like Octavia in the flesh. We've got Drake Shatterhand, freaking barbarian from the wastes, from the null zones, stuff like that. and Dashi. So if you're into barbarians, or if you're into weird little people who want, I don't know how to describe Dashi. I just play Dashi.
Yeah. So
if you're into whatever Dashi's deal is, then there's something for everyone.
Yeah, come for your sad clerics and snake men, but stay for Drag's puns.
Yes.
That's
oh my god.
Okay.
Drake is a warrior poet, and I like my partners was listening to the podcast, and I showed my partner a picture of all the characters, and they were like, "Oh yeah, this Drake guy looks like just like some standard ass barbarian." And then they came back, were like, "Oh my god, Drake is incredible, like so good." I was like, "Yeah, no, nobody here is normal. Like we're all like Drake, warrior poet, but is just like barely scratching the surface. So give it a chance. Go listen to the first 3 episodes. They're out now. And let us know what you think. You can tag us at Aetherlogue on Twitter. Aetherlogue.com is where all of our stuff is. And you go listen to it wherever you get your podcasts. That's what podcasters say, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Available
right?
wherever you get your
Right.
podcasts.
Yeah, wherever sound happens for you.
And I'll have links to all that stuff below. So
Hell yeah.
Cool.
Thank you.
I think that's something people also underestimate, that like if you wanted to reach out to a creator, just listen to their stuff and then tag them and talk to them, because I will talk about Gale and our world and hype everyone up as much as possible. All you have to do is at me and we'll go.
Literally, you don't know how like much it means to people when you talk about the thing that they make, and you think, oh, that person's too big for me, they would never blah blah. I mean, maybe that's true if they're a butthole, or if they really are really, really big. But at our level, we're not that much bigger than anyone's.
We had a quick conversation about prior to actually getting on camera about scheduling. So I think this is a thing that we all go through. You know, I mean, as adults trying to play these wonderful games, it's trying to get people together to do it. So that has been a challenge for you as well, I hear.
Yeah. So I mean, all of us are super busy, and we all have our own like massive projects that we're all each going through. I know Sam has 2 podcasts. He has a podcast that he's playing in, and he has Spontaneum, which he runs on Tuesdays. Chrissy is in so many games. Mark runs Cast Eye and is a professional voice actor, so he's always busy. And Lex, they're just amazing. So Lex is here. So
I sit at home and I make my little games, but I protect that time. That's how you get it done. So when I'm unavailable, I'm very much unavailable. And people have been inviting me to a lot of games recently for streams and stuff, which has been so fun. And it's a lot, actually. I don't know how Chrissy does it. Chrissy is actually a machine. Yeah. She's incredible. And like coming up with very fresh character concepts every single time. Right. I know she's recycling Octavia a little bit. So Chrissy stands don't at me. I know Octavia is not brand new, but you know, she brings so much to every game, and it's such a pleasure to have her on the team. So, but yeah, I've been doing all that stuff, and it is, wow. I'm doing like literally just a 4-part miniseries on Altered Echo with Glitter Hearts. It was like a magical girl, Sailor Moon type of game. And I'm so tired. It's a lot. Like you want to do a good job. You want to care about the show. Right. And, you know, we just had our episode 3 on Saturday, and this upcoming one will be the finale. And, you know, it's been so wonderful, so great. A shout out to Magical Girl Kev and Glow Pinksta, Gloria, and Amber, the Space Jamber, who are the castmates on that show. And it's been wonderful, but it's a lot. So we all have stuff, and then Matt is running TTRPG Empire essentially, and probably doing some wild. What's the rating of the show? Matt is doing some wild stuff all the time, and you never know what Matt's gonna say that he's done before, and that's one of my favorite things about him, because he'll be like, "Oh yeah, in 2002 I did that thing and I won it, and I never did it again. But here's how you do it. Here's how I would get back into it now, since you want to get into it."
It wasn't. I didn't realize that was who I was until you said it. It's like, that is accurate. That is 100% accurate.
Yeah.
And I never noticed it.
I actually saved Matt. Matt and I were trying to get together to do an interview for a while. And so we finally got to that point. I actually held the interview for like another 6 episodes so he could be the 50th interview.
So fun. Such an honor too.
It was a really cool interview, but you learned some interesting stuff about him. So man of many talents, and always good to have him on. And Lex, again, great to meet you. I'm glad that you guys are working together. I'm excited about it. This interview's been scheduled for a week or so. I have purposely not listened to anything. I have not done anything with your project at all, because I wanted to be surprised. I didn't want to have the inside joke of, I remember what happened in this episode. So, because those guys are douchebags. No. But so, I mean, from the standpoint of producing this, who is now the world itself, you guys built collaboratively.
Yes. So Alex, do you want to?
Yeah. So, we all have our own strengths. So we all kind of step up to do our thing. And I know Mayday does this model or something similar to it as well. And they are all like, LA people. So they have production skills and stuff. As far as the production process goes, Sam and Mark really handle the audio stuff because they really know it super, super well. And when you listen to the audience at home, when you listen to the Aetherlogue first 3 episodes, there's all these like little details and fun, like there's just people in the background. It's never like an empty space. It feels like you're listening in on a world. And I really love that. And I have not the faintest idea how to do any of that. So Matt and I are more on the marketing side. And this is the flip, the opposite of last night we were on a show and Sam and Mark were like, we don't touch marketing. We have no idea what that is. That's Lex and Matt. And so we all sort of split it up as evenly as possible and try to be there when we're able. Sometimes you don't need a particular skill set. So, we all just show up for that. Otherwise, we are all sort of giving our expertise. And I think that's really one of the special things about the group, because you can't do it by yourself. And I mean, some people have, and it's very, 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 very difficult to have a podcast, start it, run it, market it, and edit it. That's which Sam Comerford has done for role-playing and role-playing.
Right.
So he is tremendously he's a wunderkind,
Prolific.
And
yeah.
But
he's been doing it for a while too. I mean, he started out in the beginning when I interviewed him, he had under 2,000 followers, maybe.
Oh my!
Now it's pushing
exactly. This is a very humble beginnings, but I found him to be a breath of fresh air, and I always enjoyed what he posted for role playing, and so that's the reason why I was like, I think might have been like my third or fourth interview. He was nice enough to come on, and I have seen no royalties from that interview. But yeah, Sam's a really good guy and very talented, and that's important that you guys split some responsibilities so it's not laying on one person's shoulders. Because it's a quick way to get burned out.
Yep.
And it's funny because it worked out that way too. So Sam and I had first discussed the idea of a project. And when we we immediately just spat out the same 3 names at the same time. and we were like, oh. And then we started looking at everyone's skill set. And it's like, holy smokes, this is going to be, this works perfectly. Everyone's good at something. It's like, yeah. But I mean, it also makes sense too, because to get to I guess, the level of recognition, you have to be good at something. So it worked out.
Everyone has some level of following, and you have to, Cast Eye Podcast is great. Mark edits and DMs the main campaign, and Chrissy is such a talented actress and is so good with all these different systems and shows. Doesn't matter what system it is, she is on it. Matt and I have conned at least 20,000 people into believing that we're marketing experts. So that's what we have going for us.
Right.
Meanwhile, Lex has a SRD with 200 plus people making games for the first time. And everyone has achieved some degree of success and respect. So I really like it. It's a gift to work with such skilled people.
Well, it seems like there's a good synergy there. I'm really excited to see where you guys go with this, because this is, I mean, 5e is a jumping off point to bigger and better things from the standpoint of different systems and probably some different projects that spin off from that. I would imagine some merchandising might come into play. I don't know.
I'll figure it out one day. We'll get to it.
We only have 3 or 4 writers on the team, so I don't know how we could ever release anything that would be, related to the podcast.
Absolutely. Right. And I'm just going to say, go back through some of my old shows. There's some really good indie projects there that you might want to dig out and play. I know Necrobiotic just got released. And,
love Necrobiotic.
Yeah,
So good.
Mitchell's a cool person. It was kind of sad because we were both at Gen Con and we had talked, and I said, well, let's meet. It'd be awesome to meet you. He's like, yeah, let's do that. And turns out that there was a room that Mitchell was in that I went into several times and didn't recognize because we were all wearing masks. So I walked right past him like 5 times. And then finally I went to the booth that he was at and I was like, is Mitchell here? And they're like, yeah, you can recognize him. He has pink hair today or something. And I just never got a chance to circle back around and see him. So it was a wonderful interview, and Necrobiotic is fantastic.
I love Necrobiotic. I got lucky enough to see one of Mitch's casting calls way back when, of being like, hey, we're gonna play Necrobiotic on stream. It's gonna be all POC table. And I was like, I want in. Let's see it. I had just joined the space, it was probably like 6 months in or something like that. But Necrobiotic was like one of the big games I was seeing on all the promo threads. And so Mitchell was always out there grinding and stuff. And it was a beautiful game. We were just like so heartbroken and laughing, and like that game is just tremendous. Definitely go. We should play that. I think our group would, no pun intended, kill Necrobiotic.
There are so many talented creators out there and so many amazing indie projects. Black Fisk Publishing has a game that they're kickstarting right now called the Legend of
by them.
Legend
I have
of
Blood Feud.
Yeah,
yes,
that's what I got.
I did an interview with them on Blood Feud, and that game will take you off at the knees. It is wow.
Yeah, that was also one of the first Kickstarters when I joined the space. I was like, they're like, oh, this is a game about toxic masculinity and like dismantling it and stuff. I was like, this rules. This rules. And they posted that there was like a review they posted that someone, or it wasn't a review, it was a comment of someone bemoaning that someone could ever say that there's anything wrong with masculinity in the current form that it takes. But of course they weren't quite so eloquent and they weren't quite so polite about it.
Sure.
And so when I saw that, I was like, I gotta buy this game. That's the review that's
marketing
right there. Game because it sounds awesome. And that's how you turn a bad review into a sale. The new one is like Tales from or Legends of Cerulia.
Yeah,
it's got the
Legends
pixel
of
art
Cerulia.
style.
It is. It's a pamphlet based homage to Zelda. I did an interview with them as well about that, and it's super easy to play. It takes you back into that Zelda sensibility type stuff. It's so much fun.
I always wanted to do pixel art as a medium, but I never got around to it, and now Lex is doing it, and I am just living it vicariously through them. It's so good.
So I was like, let me do my own pixel art pieces. This will be a fun little exercise. I'll have little place fillers for my art. And then I started doing it for just like, I did it just for Hexfall recently, which was my second game jam game that I did with everyone. And I'm really proud of the pixel art in that one because it was like actual character designs and all sorts of like cool different things with like the video game dialogue box and the little like cursor, that little triangle cursor, so you know to press A, that type of style. I always loved those back on Tumblr where people would do like those fake screenshots and they'd have the little, like a nice little message in the dialogue box. And
sure.
I miss that aesthetic. So but Matt recommended me the program that I used for most of Hexfall because I was doing it in Paint and I was like, this sucks major.
You were doing it in Paint?
And Matt was like, oh yeah, I started doing it in Paint for very simple stuff, and then because I still know some people do that because you just zoom in all the way and then bam, it's right there.
Absolutely.
But Matt was like, oh, I use Aseprite back in the day. I used to play around on that, and I was like, let me try that, and it's great. It's a great program. I have forbid myself from learning how to animate in Aseprite because I know it's going to eat my entire life. That's I don't have time to learn how to animate pixel art. I can't. Okay, stop asking me.
You probably will.
So I came up with the first image, and then I refined it, and then I made another design, and then we sent all of those to the artist who did a riddle __28 on Twitter, did an amazing job with all of our character art. Seriously, just we did Octavia first, and we saw the art. We all lost our GD minds in the Discord server. We were like, wait, what? Or wait,
yeah.
huh? Okay, we're gonna give this person all of our money.
Yeah. There's this Batman artist that I follow as like one of my number one people. And then there was this person who was posting things very similar that they had retweeted and loved, and it was Riddle. So I reached out to Riddle for their commissions, and she had spots. I was like, oh, okay, well, what if? And I wanted to surprise the crew with it. I had no idea what it was going to look like. So I'm just like, yeah, give me Octavia. And I get it back, and I was speechless. I hit send, and that was it. It's like, it
was so good. So it really, the art has been gorgeous, and we're so excited to get more art from Riddle. And the designs are so good. Literally, my desktop background on both of my screens is our album cover art for the podcast with the 4 characters in the CMYK bright colors against it with the Aetherlogue key to Vidra, and everybody looks so good. Everybody, it's just like, oh, I could stare at those colors all day.
She just understood Gail. As soon as I told her, like, yeah, he's like a monk. He's like a snake. He's got long limbs.
He's a snunk.
Yeah, go for it. And she sends me this back. I'm like, you just did it better than I did, and I drew it straight up. So
Matt did draw versions of Gail, and actually, that is one of the bonuses for the email list that Matt included, was like his early concept art for Gail, which was really cool stuff. And I love that design too. But of course, Riddle knocked it out of the park. Just truly, I'm like, even if you don't listen to the podcast, everyone, you should just go follow Riddle, because it will make your life better.
Yeah. You said it. Riddle _28.
I'll have a link down below in the description for sure.
Yeah. She's much bigger on Instagram because she can put her art up.
More visual medium. So again, weekly 10 a.m. on Tuesdays.
I think so. That's you'd think that would be something I would understand before we come into something like this, but
it's fine. You're a marketing guy. What do you want?
Yeah, I'm not.
I will have a link down below to the website where you can catch all the action, and the artwork that you've seen today is courtesy of various sources, but Lex's pixelated amazingness has been shown somewhere. And I really enjoyed having you both on, and I wish you the absolute best of luck.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
And the rest of the team, by the way. I know it's not just you two. So everybody, and give Sam a noogie for me, even though you guys are all across the country, I'd imagine.
Yeah, we are not close, right?
I think we're all East Coast, though.
Oh, okay.
We might all be the same time zone.
Isn't Sam like in Connecticut
Central.
or something?
Sam is Central.
Sam is Central.
Yeah.
He's a good Midwestern boy, corn-fed.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, is he in Wisconsin?
No, actually, I don't know. I don't think I know exactly.
Somewhere out there. He's got the accent.
I have to go rewatch our interview, because I think he tells me during that.
Yeah, I think Chicago, something like that.
Like vaguely Chicago, but like I went to a college with a kid who said he was from Chicago. He was from 3 hours west in Iowa, so whatever it was.
Yeah, that happens.
Don't at me, geography statements.
Yeah, see, when you're on a coastal state, anything that happens inland doesn't matter. So we don't have our geography is not up to snuff there.
It's so big. America's so big. I shouldn't have to know all those states.
Yeah, I agree. Well, I can't wait to see what else you guys do, and I absolutely love the fact that you're working together. And Lex, again, great to meet you, and hopefully we'll get a chance to chat again soon.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming on.
Aetherlogue.com.
Aetherlogue.com. AETHERLOGUE.com.
I'm so glad you can spell it, because
I'll put it on the screen. I'll put it on the screen. So it'll be right about here. How about that? But yes, Aetherlogue.com.